I can hardly curb my enthusiasm for my next guest. Cheryl Hines, famously known as the wife of Larry David on the hit show Curb, brings her hysterical and unscripted personality to the pod to discuss her personal life, career, and philanthropy, which includes being married to a Kennedy. This is Just Be with Cheryl Hines.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. We met years ago at Sundance because of The Waitress. Am I wrong?
No, you're right. And I wasn't sure that you would remember that. But it's funny because I remember meeting you and I can't remember much. I don't have a great memory. But I remember meeting you. I was sitting with Timothy Hutton and we were like in one of the lounge areas that they set up and I just remember that you were working. You were like working and I remember thinking, wow, uh, you were so driven even then. And I looked around and everybody else is like, we're all lounging. We're talking about films. And I think were you working with a chef or um,
Well, it's funny because I'm reminded of this right now. So I was at Sundance, I guess, just because I was at Park City. I don't think I was at Sundance per se. I don't remember. Like I had no reason that I would be there. And I went one night, someone took me to this thing called Chef Dance, where you sat in these booths and each night a different chef came and did this whole meal. And I had gone to culinary school and wanted to be a chef so badly, or a TV chef or some version of a chef. And so I finagled the guy, Kenny, and his wife, Mimi, who ran this thing, which was like a little thing, to let me host it the next year by like calling restaurants all over the country and getting them to do it and getting paid nothing just to be able to like be in that room and connect with people like you. I mean, everybody came, Kardashian came through there, everybody came through there, not even really understanding what it was. Like, wait, why are we here? Why is there a free 5-course meal from this amazing chef? And we built it up to be pretty big, but it wasn't something I ever made money off of. It just was something I was like, they were
passionate about?
using me. What?
Passionate about? You were
I was passionate about it. So many times I do things and I just keep moving forward. I don't even know what I'm even doing, but that was one of them. I just loved it. I loved the concept and the food was great. And it got me to like connect with chefs that I looked up to on television and in restaurants. And so that's where you were. But I forgot about that moment in my life. And it was very important to me. And it was, I just found a way to get myself to be able to go to Sundance and snowboard a little and eat amazing food and meet interesting people. So,
Well, it's funny because that's my memory of it. I can't tell you what I did. I can't tell you what you were, I don't remember anyway, what you were talking about or what it was, but I was like, oh yeah, Bethenny, I want to be a part of this because I like you and I felt connected to you and I felt like, okay, I'm on board with whatever you're doing. Let me see what's going on. So that was my introduction to you. And it's been really fun to watch you, from afar through the years. Like, man, you're a friggin' mover and shaker and it's
thank you.
inspirational and it's really fun to watch.
Well, likewise, and you never know how someone perceives you in that way from afar. Like, cousins in this weird entertainment industry, but have only seen each other once. But so for me, with you, you're an actress who was in that movie, The Waitress. You're married. You're on Curb Your Enthusiasm and funny, but would never thought about whether you were a comedian first because The Waitress was like a different type of role. And so didn't think about your career, just know that you're a person that I know of and I've watched Curb Your Enthusiasm for years and that you're funny and talented and married to a Kennedy. So that, is another little thing that's shiny that jumps off the page. But not until I went through all this press and bios about you did I know anything. So I took classes at the Groundlings and you went to the Groundlings. Did you make it through the ranks because I never did, like where I was up on stage actually performing. Were you a Groundling?
I was a groundling. And you're right. It's a little theater in LA that does improv and sketch comedy and you have to go through the whole school and then you have to be invited to be a cast member. So it was a big deal for me and it was great training. I mean, did you have a good experience there, or do you
So
what are your
yeah, so it's funny that you say that. A couple of places I went in my life, I went to school to the school, the Meisner place in the Valley, and I found that to be very interesting. Versus years ago taking method acting classes, which I found very trapping and for anyone listening, the method from my perspective is like you have to really go back and feel the feeling that like when your leg broke at 12 and it was frustrating and it just didn't click with me. And Sanford Meisner was like, you got to like listen to the person and just act as you just instinctively would. And that kind of spoke to me. And the Groundlings, also in my life, I took different comedy classes and I never loved them. I loved the Groundlings because it felt free. It just
yeah
felt free. There were rules and it was structured, but it felt free and it did feel like a big deal. And I always felt like a sort of a failure that I didn't stay. And I was a little afraid to get on and get up to the point where those people were up there. Probably took it for a couple of years, maybe two, with Michael McDonald, who's a
yeah
real comedian, and people who are like,
yeah
really, I see them on commercials and movies
right
now. But I'm impressed by that, and people should be impressed by that because that was something that was a big deal. Like that was hard, I think.
yeah. It is hard because you have to retrain your mind, especially probably for someone like you who seems very um goal driven, and I'm the same way. I like to I I don't want to say control what I can, but I do like to control what I can.
Mm-hmm.
Um and when you're an actor, you're going through school, acting classes, they tell you like it's all about the script, it's all about the words, what's your intention, and all of that, like you're talking about. And then when you get to the Groundlings, they say, oh, you have to let all of that go. You have to let
Yeah.
everything go. And for me, it was hard because it was like, what do you mean let it all go? I've spent years
Oh
learning
wow.
how
Well,
to.
you're like that's different perspective coming in. Yeah, that is definitely interesting. And you were there. You seem similar to my age. You were there when it had gotten harder to get up. Like years before, anybody could move through the ranks, was my understanding. But it had gotten more popular, and people had already gotten on Saturday Night Live, so it was like a
Well,
thing.
yeah, I mean, when you have like Will Ferrell and
Sherry
Chris
O'Terry,
Kattan and
right?
Cheryl Terry and Lisa Kudrow was my
Yeah.
first teacher. And, you're watching these really talented people and you're watching them um, be successful. And yeah, I think it did bring a lot of attention to the theater and it did get more competitive because so many people
Mm-hmm.
were doing it. And my group was like Maya Rudolph and then Melissa McCarthy and
Wow.
yeah.
So it was more intense. Exactly, like I'm
And
saying, like it was not a joke.
yeah, and Kristen Wiig was like right uh after me. So it was, yeah, it's hard. Uh and it's a different way of thinking, and it is freeing. When you let go and you're like, I don't know what's going to happen next. I can't know what's going to happen next, but it's going to be okay. And it's a really good life lesson.
Well,
You
do
do
you
learn that.
attribute that to your life, to your other,
Oh
your
yeah.
you do? Because I think I took something from there in my life. I can't tell you what, but I know that the world of improv is so fascinating to me and comedy, um, and that's a liberating place. So you took that improvisation and just like sort of go with the flow into your life.
Definitely. I mean, because it like I said, it teaches you to not worry about what's going to happen next, because it's not going to help to worry about what's going to happen next, but to trust yourself. I don't know what's going to happen next, but I trust that myself, that I'm going to be able to handle it, to deal with it, to react to it, in a graceful way. And then it lets go of the pressure, like when you're on a late night talk show and you don't know what's going to happen, but it's going to be fine. You know what I mean? Whatever happens is going to be fine.
And where do you live now?
I live in LA.
Okay, so you live in LA, and are you actively like always working, always auditioning? Like, because I met you in a different time in both of our lives. And I'm in a place now where I really only will do something if I really want to do it.
Hmm.
I'm not motivated by money anymore.
Hmm.
And I'm just not one of those people that's like so hungry to grab. If it feels not great, I don't want to do it. So I wonder, talking to a woman that I met,
Yeah.
you're probably in your 30s or, is
Yeah.
different.
Yeah. I am a lot like you. I've been fortunate enough to have success in this field, and it's nice that people approach me and ask me to do things and projects and interviews, and I pick and choose, because time is a real commodity. And
Totally.
people and the people that you surround yourself with. So yeah, there was a day when I was just trying to get a job, and you're just like, I don't care who I'm working with, I'll figure it out. And I definitely still have that in me. Like I'm open to people and ideas and something new, but I also really value the people that I spend time with. So even this interview, you know what I mean? We have lots of other people we could be talking to, but I really wanted to talk to you.
I appreciate
So
that.
yeah, so
I
it's
really
like,
do because I've met interesting people and it's the same thing. Like just this is something I just enjoy and I'm just talking about life and a woman who's married and like I have just I when I first started this a couple of years ago, I was like so rigid about what I was talking about and it's sort of just now like what comes to me or what jumped off the page about you. Like I thought what percentage do you now have to live in the political world? Like where? Because I read about your cerebral palsy charity, and there's like some political adjacent. And do people label you differently now because you're politics adjacent?
um, sometimes, yeah. So right, so I'm married to Bobby Kennedy Jr., who is politically involved, um, and there are moments where what he's doing, people will come at me for
Right,
something that he's doing or that he said,
right,
and that's not always easy.
right.
uh and then I really have to take a step back and look at what's important to me. What's really important to me is my core group of friends that really know me. So if I had a very close friend that said, you know that said something to me about that, I would pay more attention to it than somebody who's just coming at
Fair.
me on
Right.
Twitter or Instagram. Because, and I don't know how much you are, um, I don't know how often people come at you in a negative way, but just being in the public
Yeah.
sphere, there are people that don't like me, but I don't know who they are. I've never met them, and I don't know why they don't like me, but that's okay. Everybody
Right.
doesn't have to like me, but I don't know why people are hateful
Right.
sometimes.
Yeah. No. And listen, my fiance has worked on like mayoral campaigns, and he's po- politics adjacent. He's from Massachusetts, and so he's a kind of conservative type. And that's why I asked because I really don't know very much about it. The only thing I know is the red tape for relief work because I do a lot of that. So I asked just because I wonder if it like bled over into entertainment, as it definitely can for some people.
Yeah.
And how many years have you been married? Like, and do you? I always ask people on here who have quote unquote, and there's no really success. A successful relationship is one that I think has longevity that works. You're
Yeah.
not. No one's like living in fantasy land or perfection. I don't even believe that, even if you told me.
Yeah.
But maybe you are the exception. Because actually, Suzanne Summers, she and her husband are together every second of every day. They work together. They're obsessed with each other. I'm like, I don't want to hear it. I really don't, because I just am not interested in that. I want to pretend that that doesn't exist. So
Yeah.
let's keep that moving. So,
Yeah.
what are your bylaws of success in marriage or functionality in marriage?
Yeah. So Bobby and I have been together. I think we've been married for 9 years, right?
Okay.
And so we were dating a few years before that. So, I think for me, it is, I have to be able to laugh with somebody. And Bobby and I talk about happiness. I really talk about happiness a lot because I think it's so important in life and important to recognize when you're happy because
Mm.
you're going to have those moments when you're not happy. Um, but we talk about banking happiness. So sometimes we'll be somewhere and we'll say, "Oh my God, I'm having the best time. I'm having the best time with you." We take it all in and we think, okay, we have to bank this because one day we're going to get a call that's bad news, that's hard news, and we're going to have to go back into this well.
Like the tank,
The tank,
like
yeah.
that's the tank gets full. That we have a long distance relationship, and sometimes it gets monotonous and tedious, and like boredom comes up. And I'm a person who grew up at the racetrack with action and gambling and like dysfunction. So I have, a lot of times just my life can be a little boring, and like boring is where I have peace, I'm balanced, I love my life, but sometimes it's just not the action because you're older. So my feeling is that so we haven't been on a vacation. We were with other people, which was a mistake this summer. And Friday we're going away, and I'm like, we're coming in on fumes. It's been we just need to do something together that doesn't involve like a kid pumpkin
Right.
activity or like
Right.
we're just losers. Like I
Yeah.
just need to do one thing, put on an outfit. Like the movie the Bridesmaids, she's like, I have a halter top I want to wear. I want to go to Vegas. Like I want to wear a fucking halter top somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I get it because we end up traveling and going to events and, we'll plan our little mini vacation around that event that we
Mm-hmm.
have to go to. And you're right. It's just like, ugh, boy. Okay. So I get like that too, where sometimes I'm like, we have to go to a beach and do nothing, although he can't do nothing. Bobby cannot do nothing, which is great. That's what I love
Paul's
about
like that.
him.
He needs a little action. Like it doesn't mean a
Yeah.
main thing, but like a town to walk into, something to talk
Oh,
about, something.
exactly.
Yeah.
No, we are scuba diving or
Oh,
yeah,
more than that. Oh,
yeah,
full
like
action.
but
Got
but
it.
like going to the town and meeting the, person that lives there and having lunch with them or whatever. Bobby really loves different cultures and different people more than I don't need to meet
Anyone
a
ever
lot
again?
of I would be okay. I'm good. I guess
Same.
he loves to find out, what the town is known for, what this person does, how they feel about the world. He really loves
Oh,
that.
I'm glad I'm not. I mean, you are opposites, but I am not. I'm more like you. Like I'm not
Yeah.
interested in any kind of small talk whatsoever.
Well, I mean, what's interesting about him is it's actually not small talk. He gets right into the heart of, and I'm like, Bobby, that's too personal. Like maybe don't, but then the person's like, no, I'm glad somebody asked me about, my grandfather. So yeah, they get into these really
That's interesting. That's
intense
nice.
conversations. Yeah. But I'm like you, I'm like, I want to put on my halter top. I want to have a pina colada and sit by a pool and hope that no one recognizes that it's me in a bathing suit.
And feel cute. Yeah, exactly. So I'm looking forward to that. Were you a tell me about you were a cosmetologist. That's like
Yeah.
a facial is that a facialist or is that a
Oh,
extractionist? What is that?
well, after high school, I went to cosmetology school and I learned how to do hair. It was really hair. I mean,
Oh.
we learned skin and hair. This was in Florida. So you learn about both. And then I got my cosmetology license. I worked in a salon and then I decided to go to college. So I was working during the day as a in a salon cutting hair. And actually, that was back in the days of perms and jerry curls.
Oh my God. Do you cut
You
your own
remember?
hair?
No, I don't cut my own hair. No, but during the pandemic, can I just tell you how many haircuts I had to do? Because
No.
yes, because everybody was stuck at home, and I'm like, I don't. It's not really what I want to do on a Friday night, but okay. But even during college, everybody was poor. I knew how to cut hair. So anytime I go to a party, people would just line up for me to cut their hair.
Wait a minute. Do you
Yeah.
did anyone complain? Do you have any customers that were dissatisfied?
Oh, Well, yeah. I mean, I have a friend when I was in school, actually, that's when there were some disgruntled patrons. But by the way, they weren't paying for it.
Oh,
But
right.
but I have a friend named Ed who had let his hair grow out. And oh my God, I gave him like a mullet and a perm. Although he wanted it, it didn't look good by any means, but and then sometimes people would get, they're called white walls, like when you're doing a haircut for a guy and you go up over the ear too high, and
Oh, yeah.
then you see a little white area.
Yes. Yes.
I had to learn how to not do
That's,
that.
I have to say, I've done those like 25 things you don't know about me things. And it's funny because you start mailing it in the first three and then you realize something that someone doesn't know. Like you said, the cosmetology thing. And I once said that I was a spin instructor because I did go to this course. I've never taught anybody, but I did go to this course. And I thought yours was so crazy. Like do people know that you were Rob Reiner's assistant? Is that a thing?
Not, I mean, people do know that. Not everybody, but yeah, people, it was funny because when I worked for him, they called me Cece because there was another assistant named Cheryl. So when I was working with Rob when I got Curb Your Enthusiasm. And then
Oh,
when
wow. You were
yeah,
auditioning how did you, because that's a hard job to be a personal assistant to someone like that. So how did you finagle the auditions?
well, I was really working for Rob and his wife, Michelle, in their home. So it was more of I wasn't on the set with Rob.
I
I'm not,
had the same job for Linda and Jerry Bruckheimer.
oh, really?
The
Wait,
same job you're describing. Like
like personal side.
right, but like you get to say you were his assistant, but you weren't like I wasn't on the set of Pearl Harbor. Right.
Yeah.
I was at the house sorting organic vitamins and going to Dunhill buying cigars and Cartier and buying $25,000 bracelets. But I
Yeah.
was in the mix. And I was
I
really more for Linda, but still I get to say it. I'm saying it. It happened.
Same. I remember the first time I got to drive onto the Paramount lot. And
Ah.
I drive up and I said I have a drive on. And the guy was like, "Okay, get over yourself, lady in the red Tercel." And they gave me a little parking pass, and I got to drive onto the Paramount lot. And I just remember going home that day, like, "Oh my God, I made it! I was
Well,
on the lot."
I'm impressed because for some reason in Malibu one day I walked down the beach. I don't remember how long ago it was, and it landed at this house with he and his wife, and had like a 2-hour conversation with them, and loved them. Like we
They're
really connected.
great.
I bet you he might even remember. We just for some reason connected, and they were great. And I bet you he's as proud that because Linda Bruckheimer, who like I said I used to sort vitamins. Once I became something, she was certainly more as proud of work as having worked for her as the opposite. Same with Jerry
Oh, that's
Bruckheimer.
nice. That's
Yeah,
really nice. Yeah,
it's funny.
Rob and Michelle have they were always very supportive of me. And even when I was working for them as an assistant and I was performing at the Groundlings on Friday and Saturday nights, they would come to every show
Oh,
opening I had. And I
wait,
was
but
just an assistant.
wait, hold on. So you got the job for Curb Your Enthusiasm while you were an assistant for them. So
Yeah.
you were old enough to be like looking like a wife?
I was, I think I was like 35 when I got that job.
Wow. So we have a lot. This is why I love doing this because, I didn't quote unquote make anything of myself till I was 38. You were a late bloomer too. You were working as a personal assistant. You
Yeah.
know,
And then
no,
I didn't have my daughter until I was 39.
oh, say I was 38. Yeah. So were you financially struggling?
When I had, up until the moment I got Curb,
Yeah. And
yes,
that wasn't, and
yes.
people always think those roles you're making millions of dollars and you weren't in the
No, you're
beginning. I know
not.
that
No,
about,
you're
right.
not. No.
Right.
I was really struggling. I mean,
Wow.
when I started working for the Reiners, I was also working at a hotel, bartending. So I was working 2 jobs for a long time. There was one point when I was working 3 jobs. My mom always reminds me, and I'm like, "You're right. Okay."
Good for you.
Yeah, because sometimes I feel so I can't believe this is my life, and
Right.
I feel lucky, really lucky. And then I'll talk to my mom and she's like, "Well, you can say you're lucky, but I can tell you all the years that you had 2 jobs, you had 3 jobs, and your butt off to get there. And I'm like, oh, okay.
You forget. I know. It's so being broke, and you remember what it felt like to be broke. I mean, I used
Ooh,
to bounce checks, and I would have the
same.
insufficient funds, and then you bounced one, and then five would go right after because there was nothing in there, and then you get the fees. You crying on the phone.
Yes.
I would have insufficient funds all the time. Yeah, I remember that. But you were young, and you were just excited about such different things, and that's so funny. Yeah, that is a parallel for sure. Having a daughter, you only have one child,
Well, I have my daughter, and then I have 6 stepkids.
right?
So,
Okay.
so I have 7.
Right. Technically, you have seven, but your daughter is how old now?
She's 18. She's about to turn
Okay.
19. Yeah.
Wow. So she's a full person. I
Yes.
got to take a picture of you because my daughter and I, one of her favorite movies is Bad Moms Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm your character where I'm like, Kiki, it's Kiki, right? Where the house
Kiki.
across the street. Yeah, where it's Kristen Bell who's horrified by you like getting the same pajamas as
Yeah.
because Bryn used to say to me, she used to be like, Mom, everybody will ask like about homework and stuff. You'll ask me how my lunch was at school, like compared to everybody else's. Like I'll be like,
Uh-huh.
I'll come, okay, what did people think about your lunchbox? She's like, no one thought anything about me.
Nobody.
Like, what are you saying? Because I'd put like an extra note and a lollipop and a
Right.
treat. I'm like, no, like, what do you mean? No one said anything about that lunchbox today? There was like
Right.
a cake pop in there.
Right.
I'm crazy about like the
No.
little stupid things like that character.
Well, the same. That's why I felt so connected to that character because when my daughter was in high school, she played on the softball team for in when she was a freshman. And she wasn't very good and she didn't want to be good. She didn't care. But I went to every game and I would bring all these snacks for the girls and a cat, my daughter I'd be like, Cat, it's okay that you didn't play. You're on the bench. You're ready. She's like, Mom, stop.
No, that's me
I'm
right now. I begged her, why won't you let me I have these extra Mike and Ike's boxes, like 12 of
yeah,
them, and I won't give them, I don't know why. I act like they're like Cartier bracelets. I'm
yeah,
like, why can't I just bring them to the basketball thing and just give it out to everybody? Or
yeah.
all this makeup I do, because I have this
Right.
beauty influence. I go, why can't I just let me make little beauty bags for your friends? She's like, Mom, stop. I'm in bed. Stop. Stop. Yeah, by the way, because this year I've got a whole bunch of bags, like goodie bags. I thought it was her birthday. Put it together, and there were cute things like in there. It was cute. It wasn't like baby stuff.
Yes.
And it wasn't like Play-Doh. It was like real stuff. She's like,
Right.
Mom, absolutely not.
Oh,
I'm like, what? Why? She's like, I can't give that. Like, and I'm like, why? I'm like, what am I supposed to put in there? Like nunchucks? Like a vibrator? You're freaking 12. So yeah, I'm embarrassing. And one day I'll ask you to like send a message to her saying something.
oh,
'Cause have, like,
I would be thrilled to do that. And by the way, I love my daughter so much that I'm starting a company with her,
wow.
whether she wants to or not. No, she does want to, but we've been working on it for a few years and we're about to launch. But when we launch, can I come back and tell you everything?
Please. I'm so excited. Yeah, that's amazing. Is she excited? She into it?
She's into it. She's excited. She's also in college right now. So it's like, well, spring break is coming up. Meanwhile, I'm like working with my sister, my brother too. And we're working on packaging and manufacturing but it's exciting because I really wanted to stay connected with her and do something, empowering, with her that would be, you know, building blocks for the future. So I don't know. It's really exciting. It's really fun. Yeah.
It is very exciting. I just want to hear what it is. But that concept of being in business with your daughter is amazing too. You know who was on this show that was on in your on number 17 on things we don't know about you is John Paul DeJoria. He was on here, and I know him from years ago because my friend Michelle Charters was a hot bartender at a place called King, and she
Yeah.
met him, and I think he loved her, and I think he bought her a Harley Davidson, gave her a Harley Davidson as a tip. I may be mixing two people, but he gave her $2,600 tip, and she bought a motorcycle, like something crazy. But
Yeah.
he was on here, and I just thought that was like so random that you know him.
Well, it's funny because he's my inspiration. So I know John Paul DeJoria founded Paul Mitchell
And invested in Patron.
and Patron, which he
Crushed.
started and then sold. And his daughter, Michaeline, runs Paul Mitchell now. So it's it's so cool. And he's so amazing and she's amazing. And when I first uh, started entertaining the idea of starting this company, I talked to both of them and they've been so helpful and inspirational to me.
Well, I don't even know how you don't know him because of hair. This could
No, I
totally
know him.
coincidental
I
because you're a
know
famous
him.
hairstylist.
What if I did his hair? What if I was like,
Yeah.
I've been doing his hair for the
Yes.
last 30 years? Um,
You're
I I know him through Waterkeeper Alliance. So Waterkeeper is a nonprofit organization that protects clean water.
hmm
So, and he's very environmentally um supportive. And so
he's
he
very
really,
cause driven
yeah.
overall. Yeah.
So that's where I met him, and I met him through Bobby. He'd been friends with Bobby for a long time. So that was my introduction to him
Uh,
years ago.
okay. So I know him and he was on here and he's lovely. I just thought that was like an interesting touch point too. Um, and are you overbearing with your daughter or like reasonable or both?
I think I'm reasonable. I think I'm reasonable. Um, we're uh, we're really close, you know. It was really hard and way harder than I anticipated when she was leaving to go to school.
College.
Yeah, to go to college. I wasn't, I wasn't ready.
Where did she go?
She's in Dallas.
Did you consider, was California part of it? Because I'm not even kidding, and I know this is wrong, but we talk about all the time, like where we're going to move when she goes to college.
Exactly.
Like
No,
where we're living, where we are going to Pepperdine and living in Malibu or Santa
right.
Barbara. Like it has to be warm. We've had these, yeah, but
I know. That's how I felt. I was like, wherever you're going, I will go. And she's
you
like,
really
okay.
thought that. Like you thought that for
Oh,
real, though,
yeah.
because I
Oh,
think it's
yeah.
real. So it's not real.
It's not real. Because the problem is they want their own space.
When does that start? When do they want their own space? Because my daughter's obsessed with me and she's 12 and more than her friends are obsessed with their parents. Like she likes on weekends to be with me, do a
Yeah.
play date with them or a couple of things, but she wants to do activities with me. But I'm crazy. Like
Yeah.
we're always doing an adventure. Last weekend it was Dunkin' Donuts onesies and we went in to do a donut crawl and
Yeah.
it's CVS or the Dollar Store. I'm like one of those
Yeah.
people that just wants to do stupid things all
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah, which is great. And that will stay. It's just it's gonna change its shape,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. So like when Kat went to school, went, off to college, it's like it was hard because, just thinking, oh my God, I'm not gonna make her breakfast in the morning. But we still, before I drove her to school. So we had like a 2-day trip together, which was
Oh, that's
great.
so good.
It was really helpful because before that we were both like, what am I going to do without you? And
Oh.
we were both just like, I can't live without you. And after
Yes, I know
48
what you're gonna
hours,
say. I know you want you to kill each other. That was great.
you're just like, okay, I'll see you later. I will see you in a month. Let's just get some space.
Right. Choice time.
It was helpful. It was very
Choice time.
helpful.
Everybody
Yeah,
needed
yeah,
choice. You needed choice time. Yeah,
yeah,
100%. You get so excited you miss them, and then I'm like, I need my own We'll be out somewhere, and we've just been doing it, and I get home I'm like, I
I
need
get
my
it.
own life and my own body and my own
Yeah,
choice right now. It's
yeah,
choice time. Yeah,
yeah,
that's hilarious. I
yeah.
love that. Wow. Well, does she talk to you about sex? And like, does she get or no? Like, when do they start kissing? And they're lying about like they're telling you nothing's
Ooh.
happening. When does this all start
Oh,
happening? Because
that
for me, it
probably,
was earlier than I.
I don't know. I would imagine like sixth grade
Oh
kissing.
Christ!
Oh,
Yeah. And you had the whole pandemic. Like, don't you now feel like you can't believe you got that time if you were with your
I
daughter the whole
know.
like with
I
your pet? I don't
know.
know if you have pets, but with your pets, with your kids,
Oh,
like
good. My pets.
we are so close. My pets and my daughter were like so much closer because of all that time. And there was a lot of
Yeah.
getting on each other's nerves too, but that made you closer too.
Yeah. Yeah. And it also made it, I think, more difficult for her to and for us to part ways because we spent so much time together and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, she's leaving.
Right. That's what I mean. That was a weird time to have the pandemic right before the college leave because you got
Yeah.
so used to a
Because every
different.
day, all day, all night, what are you going to have for dinner? What should we do? And we would have our little dates because Kat and I we'd go pick up sushi and sit in the car and eat. And sometimes we drive to the beach just because I have a lot of people in my house. I mean, I have
Right.
a lot of people in my house. So we would have our own little dates and it was fun, you know.
I love
Um,
that. Wow. I mean, you and I need to like get together with you in person. Like
I would
I
love
meet
that.
interesting people and then I never reach out. I'm just like, I'm going to Florida in 2 weeks and I'm thinking, who do I know that I like in Florida? And then I reminded myself of someone I really like one time in California, I was like, I know I like you and I'm in California.
I know.
Let's get a drink.
I want to get a drink with you.
Me too.
Okay.
Well, okay, I won't bother you because I'm not even talking about anything anymore. I'm just like going to ask you like what your favorite color is soon and your ice cream flavor and when you last got a pedicure. I have nothing to like ask that matters. But what were your rose and thorn of your career?
Um, well, gosh, I mean, the thorns, it's hard because, you know, sometimes you get close to getting, or me personally, but I'm sure every actor, you get close to getting a big film that you think will change your life.
Mm.
And then you don't get it. And the film comes out, and that other actress did a great job, but it also didn't seem to change her life, you know? So
Uh-huh.
it's a bit of a life lesson all the time. Because
Right.
as an actor, you put so much, you're so sure that if you got this one thing, it would change your life. Um, and then life goes on, you
Oh,
didn't
you
get
mean
it.
like anybody could say that in any job, and then later the puzzle pieces come together, so it can't be your thorn because it was your thorn in the moment, but later it became your rose because it didn't
Yeah,
really matter.
right.
Interesting. Yeah, I totally understand that. And is your life where you want it? Like, do you feel balanced and at peace? Are you? I hate saying to somebody, "You happy?" Like me right now, I'm balanced and at peace. I'm a little bored. I'm overall happy, but it's like I'm
You're a
settled.
little
But I'm a
bored.
little, in my life, just because
Because you seem like you need to create something, you need to put it
but
out
I don't
there,
want
you
to
need
do
to
the
challenge
work.
yourself.
But I don't want to do it.
I
That's the
think you
problem.
do. I think you
No,
do.
I don't want to
You've done a
actually
lot
do
of
it.
work. You've done a lot
I
of
don't want to
work.
go. I don't want to put the makeup on.
Yeah,
I don't want to do what it.
I
So
get it.
I have the idea, but I don't want to do what it takes. You know
It's
what I
funny
mean?
because yeah, I totally know what you mean. I am at a place where I'm very happy. I I feel I I'm amazed at how my life has turned out and where I am and the people that I've been able to work with. So I feel just grateful every day. I mean, we're shooting another season of Curb Your Enthusiasm. I shoot tomorrow. So I wake up in the
Right.
morning, I'm like, holy balls. I can't believe that I get to do this. And at the same time, working on this new company that has nothing to do with this business is really exciting to me
Hmm.
because I'm learning stuff every day. You know, not that I'm not still learning stuff acting, but you know, I have a good idea of what's going to happen tomorrow as an actress. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I know what it takes and what you need to do. And but with this company, I'm learning something every day. I'm working with my daughter, my sister, my brother, and we're really having a good time with it. So the next step will be, you know, when we launch, I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't
Right.
know. I don't, I I know that there will be roses and thorns that I can't even anticipate.
So you have consistency in the show that is funny and fun and purposeful, and you're still in the game. You're relevant. You're in the action. And then you've got something that's a little bit of a question mark. So that gives you a little bit of that jolt.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And not only that, but there's a part of the starting a company that um, you can control. You know, I can control what the products are, what the logo is, what our goal is, what we're working for, what I want it to smell like, what I want it to
Mm-hmm.
feel like, what I want it to do. And that is really exciting. Where as an actor, I don't have much control over
Mm.
what my next job is.
Mm-hmm.
You get a script and you read it and you talk to the director or the producer. And, one time I didn't get a job because I looked too much like the director's ex-wife.
Wow.
So, so there are
Right.
these things that you can't control as an actor. You're too old, you're too young, you're too fat, you're too skinny. What things that you can't control? You know what I
Right.
mean? So when there's something exciting about something tangible that you can see and feel and look at and hold and have a little control over.
Yeah, it's still creative, but it's got a box around it that you can. Yeah, that's so true. Paul, my fiance, produced a movie. I forgot to tell you that I don't think was your greatest work, nor his, but he is a real estate developer that's produced like 13 movies, and he's won a Peabody. Like it's nothing to be embarrassed about. But years ago, you did a movie with him. Not that he said, because I mentioned today that I was talking to you, and he was like, I don't think it was either of our finest moment. So I
Yeah.
don't even know what it was called, but it was in the beginning of your career, I think. Let me look it up. Cold Turkey.
Oh, okay. Cold turkey. Okay. Yes. That film.
It
Yes.
wasn't your best work, I don't think, or his, right?
It,
He just said he was like he made it like on his part. He was like, yeah. That was in the beginning. I think it was the first thing he ever did, and I don't think it was his best moment.
you know what? I had a good time doing it.
All right, well that's part of it.
I really liked the people that I worked with, so that
That's
was good.
awesome.
Yeah,
That's
did it
awesome.
did it hit its mark? Probably not.
No, but that's okay. Well, you have hit your mark. I loved getting to know you and meeting you again, and it was really fun. Really, really nice. I'm
I
so
do.
happy
I
for
want
you.
to
And
hang out with you, Bethany.
me too. So I'm gonna when I come to LA next, which I have no plans yet, but I
Okay.
always have some. We will get together.
I would love nothing more.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thanks, Bethany.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh God, some days I'm just like, what am I going to talk about today? And for some reason, Cheryl Hines, her background in press doesn't have like a lot of scandal or crazy things. And I could have talked to her forever. There was a point in that interview where I thought, like, are we at lunch? Should I stop talking to her? Like, it was so fun. It was so great. I really like her. Like, that's somebody, I find people on this show that I would be girlfriends with because I'm very insular and I don't have a lot of girlfriends. I have people I've known for 1,000 years. I don't trust anybody. And just it's so busy. It's hard to make new friends and you don't get time. Like, I told her we'd have drinks. It'll be 5 years from Thursday because we're both are busy. I loved her. Like, I loved her. I thought she was awesome. Real person. Like, I'm going to call her when I go to LA. So what an interesting life. What a fun interview. Thank you for listening. So different than our other show, Rewives, and I love them both, like two different children that couldn't be more opposite. So thank you for listening. Rate, review, and subscribe, and have a wonderful day.